Hello everybody, Army of Light Earth Division, Shauna L. Francis here. Today is February 1st, 2023. We are deep into our conversations with the late Queen Elizabeth. I'm channeling her, trying to do it daily, and then making a video the same day with the information that she brought forward to me. Today was really tough, guys. We're getting into some of the really awful stuff. I'm praying for the entire team here to be present with us for this. Yeah, these are things that I just had hoped and hoped and hoped were not true. It's true. Stuff's true. So, I'm finding it just so fascinating that many of you who are reaching out to me have expressed that these videos, specifically the talk about reptilians, about the truth that's coming forward with Queen Elizabeth and through the Galactic Federation of Light, that this seems to be activating you. I am just in awe of this process here. Team, we are awakening in the dream. We are figuring this out. These were some great plans, these grand plans that were laid long before we were born into this life. We all agreed that we were going to come down here to the planet and help anchor the light, specifically as it relates to the negative reptilian influence, which I'm coming to learn is huge. It's way bigger than I could have ever imagined. I thought, oh, this is just this thing, this part of the ascension, and it's this negativity, but holy mackerel. So, it's this, it's an amazing journey that we're all on together, team. Galactic Federation of Light, most likely we're all members. We are coming together at this time specifically to help raise this consciousness, raise this frequency. Remember, the GFL in the beginning talked about us being our own collective. Our own collective. So we are talking about these things within our group here. Those of us who have raised our hands and said, we're going to go down and do this. They said, yes, you do this. These are our missions. And now we get to understand this better, know it a little better. It's like clicking into place. The team had always talked about lock and key moments. Like these are going to be unlocking, knowing for people, knowings. So I'm still just really, I'm in awe for this process that we get to be down here and we get to wake up in this dream and we get to understand a little bit more about why we are here and what's been going on. I mean, this last 6 months has just been a whirlwind. And now we're on this new fast track, entered the new era here with the Queen, through the eye of the needle. And by springtime, just about most everything she's going to want to talk about will have been said. And now I've got a few of you who are sending me videos and notes from folks, other channelers out there who are saying, yeah, March and April are going to be really big transition times. There's going to be a lot of disclosure, more about the royal family coming out. Yeah, and I try not to listen to a lot of other channeling. I just don't want it to inadvertently influence anything that I'm saying or doing, so I really try to stay away. Paul Selig is one exception. I'm, all over his books, cry on all that, so but by and large, I'm not out there looking at what other folks are saying about these coming times. So it's wonderful to really feel that there's some incredible momentum happening. And I think about just even 4 short years ago, it seems like 4 lifetimes ago, in terms of the idea of reptilians, understanding who and what we are, understanding the ascension, understanding how the galactics are working, what the Federation of Light is all about. These are all incredible beings of light here working really hard on behalf of humanity and Earth to make sure that this is a successful ascension. You know, we as humans have chosen this path. We've said yes to it. Enough is enough at this low density with this reptilian influence. We are ready to be done and to enter the realm of light, of love. That is the fifth dimension. It's going to take us some time to get there, guys. We are the tip of the spear. We are leading the charge here. We're creating the wake. We're creating the pathway so that others may more freely walk this path with us. And the team said, dark times ahead. This is going to be tough, Shauna. Things are going to get more crazy. 2023 is going to feel like it's been tilted on its axis. So there will be there'll be ramifications for what I'm bringing forward. There will be a cause and effect thing happening here. Of course, we don't know what that looks like yet. I completely trust that we've got this figured out and that everybody, the millions of hands carrying us, not only on this side of the veil, but the other side of the veil, everybody who is joining here with the light, that we're going to be successful. It may be painful to get there, all this disclosure and all whatever might be the fallout of this, but it's absolutely necessary and it will be totally worth it. I really feel this, and I trust that my team knows exactly what they're doing, what our team is doing. They know what they're doing. So anyway, it was hard today. I'll go ahead and get into this. Just know, team, that you mean everything to me. This is, I can only do this journey because of your support. I can only be on this journey because you're with me. So thanks, team. I love you for that. All right. So Queen Elizabeth today came through as her reptilian self again to me, which was confusing because I thought, well, didn't we just get rid of that aspect of her? She could really show up as anything. And obviously I don't really know a whole lot about what's going on the other side in terms of what that really meant. But certainly it was like I recognized her when she did come in. It took some time. And I just said, Queen Elizabeth, I'm just wondering, how are you doing after the recent events with you and that change over to the light? How are you? And she said, hi, Shauna, it's been tough for me. Even though I can see the bigger picture, and even though I am so grateful for the opportunity to leave all of that behind and carry on in my fullest potential, even with all the gratitude at this ability, I still have so much remorse and pain over what has transpired now that my eyes are wide open and my heart is wide open. So more reflection, team. And as I've said before, and Crayon's talked about this, in order to help balance our karma, sometimes it's a part of that balancing of karma is feeling remorse, feeling that shame and guilt, like having a conscience about something that you weren't conscious about before. It is a part of the journey. It's a part of the karmic balancing to be able to have the time and space and ability and the love for yourself to reflect and to feel what you might want to feel, without suppressing it or brushing it away or acting like it wasn't a bad thing or that it didn't happen, or trying to whitewash it with a bunch of positive feelings. I mean, sometimes, we need to feel our emotions. We need to express what those things that are deep within us. So I don't think that it's a bad thing necessarily that she's feeling this kind of remorse and guilt for what's happened. I'm sure I have spent many lifetimes feeling that way based on what I've done, even though I'm not conscious of it in this lifetime. So sorry, a little tangent there. I think it's healthy in this regard to be able to have time to reflect and ponder what's gone on. I think it's important to the karmic balancing. She said here, I can feel much more deeply the horrific nature of what I've done and what these reptilians have done. And I am anxious to see the day that none of this goes on and this world is free from this suppression. And she did say just reptilians, but I want to remind everybody that there are plenty of positive reptilians out there, reptilians of the light. This is one particular species and their allies. We're not talking about all reptilians here. There's plenty of beautiful, high vibration reptilians out there. And I'd said to her, I said, yes, that's really understandable. I said, we're here together. We're going to give this our best shot and make a huge contribution to the light through this service. Let us be fearless and feel truly empowered by this plan that we have and this partnership that we've created, lifted and supported and nurtured by all the beautiful beings of light who love us unconditionally and will see this through to the end. And she said, thank you for that, Shauna. Thank you, dear child. Yes. I said, continue whenever you're ready, Queen Elizabeth. Man, and I started to see some visions. I started to understand where this conversation was going to go. And there were some nice long pauses here. This is only 1,100 words, but it took an hour and a half to get through this. There was lots of pauses, and she really took her time with this, as did I. She said, Shauna, when you look into the Master's eye and it completely disarms you, strips you of all sense of self, all coherent thoughts, anything that might resemble normalcy, groundedness, any sense of control you might have had up to that moment, it all just vanishes. You are in the spell. And after that point, you feel no pain. You stop knowing yourself as a singularity. You disassociate from any emotions you may have been feeling, any physical sensations. You lose track of yourself and your body, your personality, your cares, concerns, and worries, and you just be. It's quite an intoxicating, fully gripping experience. She said here, what also happens is you really just stop caring about anything. It's actually quite freeing to have that level of detachment, to be fully immersed in that moment. And then she continued here, the issue is that you haven't necessarily entered this space by choice or free will. You may not have been even consciously aware of what happened to you. Compliance is really just your only choice in this state. It's even a bit seductive to just let go and to succumb to whatever force this is. What was so fascinating for me as I was channeling this from her is I thought, gosh, that's kind of like how it feels when you go into a meditative state. That detachment, losing your sense of self, just being in the moment. And it does feel intoxicating sometimes, seductive to be in that space if you can hit that 0 point and really be present in the now, where you're not worrying about anything, you're not caring about anything. So I thought, wow, how fascinating is this? The Master's eye. When you look into the Master's eye, such an interesting concept. All right, so she had a nice long pause there, and then she continued. Shauna, the destruction that can be carried out with a force like this, it's nearly unfathomable. Imagine legions and legions of beings under the spell, having relinquished any control of themselves to this power. She said here, the phrase blood sport might come to mind when trying to grasp the situation. It was a good 15 minutes before she continued. I could really feel her struggling with this. And I had a realization that some of these bigger pauses that we've had over the last 4 or 5 days that were having me quite concerned, and I talked to you guys about this, like, I'm not hearing anything, is everything okay? I think it's her taking her time and trying to get up the nerve, to talk and to verbalize this stuff. And she talks about this today. I realized, well, that's probably what's been going on here all along. It's not me or debris in the field. It's her, having a hard time. Then she continued here. This blood sport is and has always been a mainstay of the negative reptilian life. This is the creme de la creme of their world. That's what they lust after, what they all pursue, and they take it extremely seriously. Another big pause, and I said, please continue, Queen Elizabeth, whenever you're ready. Waiting, and I just was waiting patiently. These things, she said, are very painful for me to speak about, Shauna, even from this vantage point on the other side of the veil. It brings me great pain and sorrow, agitation to be verbalizing what's been happening. Thank you for your patience with me as I drum up the courage and resolve to speak plainly, honestly, and in detail about what's been happening. I said, certainly, Queen Elizabeth, take all the time you need. Take care of yourself and be patient with yourself. And I will be patient as well. I said, we will find the right words together. She said, thank you for that, Shauna. That's very helpful. I said, you're very welcome. Please continue whenever you're ready. And at this point, more visions started coming. I saw like this beautiful white lotus slowly open up and bloom, and it was glowing with light. And then I started seeing blood splatter over this white lotus. And eventually it was just drowned out by blood, and it just became this little mess. Oh. I'm like, oh, okay. That's interesting. So that kind of came and went. And she said here, the spilling of blood in and of itself is a simple concept. But this concept is taken to a whole new level with the negative reptilians, an absolute lust for human blood. Not just any blood, ideally, but the blood of children, very scared children. And she said, I'm so sorry, Shauna, this is very, very hard for me to discuss. And I said, yeah, this is a terrible topic, and I wish it wasn't true. And at this point, I mean, I'm getting really teary, and I'm just like, oh God, here we go. The blood of children, very scared children. I was really, really hoping this wasn't the case. I really hoped that this was truly just a conspiracy theory, and that this was not going to be true. But I've heard it directly from her, and I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust. And she continued on here. As Queen Elizabeth, I became aware of this bloodletting practices in my 50s. I was deeply entrenched into the hive mind, but I do recall thinking, why do we all just let this happen? Why does this just seem okay? Why isn't something being done about this? Those thoughts came and went fairly quickly, she said, and it didn't cross my mind that I should be the one to do something about this. At that time, it felt fairly far removed from what I was doing, and selfishly, I recall saying to myself, Thank goodness the children in my family never have to succumb to this. And I'm really crying at this point. I mean, it makes me teary right now to think about it. She said, so callous I had become. I was really losing track and connection with the part of me that felt so empowered as a young woman, felt so invincible. They don't have a grip on me. I can overcome this. I was so very wrong. Ugh. My goodness. Such incredible darkness, Shauna, she said. Atrocious. It must stop. May we all feel empowered to completely dismantle this regime. May we know it to the depths of our souls that this is possible and that the light will prevail. And I said, yes, Queen Elizabeth. I said, this is completely within our abilities. And she said, thank you, Shauna. Of course, there will be more information coming, but for now, this feels complete to me. I said, okay. All right. So I said, we're all in this. We're in this together, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, team. So there's that. Yep. I mean, I know it's out there already. This may not be a surprise for a lot of you. It's still just hard for me to hear it really from her, from a direct channel source. I can also I can start to feel just how hard this is going to be. And even just for myself, like I channeled that, and then I went and had dinner with neighbors, you know, and I have to just act normal. And I'm really feeling like, you know, I'll get home on Friday, we'll get back into all of this. And I'm just feeling very introverted right now, very much not expanded, but contracted, and just wanting to, you know, be really focused on this and really just giving myself lots of space. Probably not hanging out with a lot of friends and family, just kind of really being present for this process, because it's bringing up visions and things and memories for me as well as I go through this. I'm not quite ready to talk about this stuff just yet. So we're gonna have to take these kind of little bite-sized steps here, and we've got plenty of time to get through all this. So anyway, those are just some of my thoughts right now, just going through this again with all of you, just thinking through the logistics of bringing this information, and having the strength for both the Queen and myself to do this work. It's so important though, guys. This is just so critical. I'm really, really seeing it. I'm feeling how critical this is to bring this through, no matter the consequences. We've got to know what's been going on here. This has got to come out. I know it's been coming out, so this is I'm yet another voice in the chorus of the disclosure information coming forth. And like the Queen has said, Melchizedek has said, proof will start to come as well. There'll be proof here. All right, guys. Okay. I do expect to see you tomorrow. Friday, probably not. I'll be traveling all day back to Portland. So, but then we'll hit it again this weekend. All right, guys. I hope you're doing okay with all this. I love you. Thanks for everything that you're doing to support me and to support each other. We got this. Okay. Mwah.